I think what I'm about to share with you is going to completely change your view on social media and how your brand is using it. So quickly, let me tell you a story. So about 2 years ago, I am talking with a client. I was doing some fractional CMO work with them, through our agency. It was to really help them out in a pinch. And I'm looking at all the channels and all the attribution. I'm looking at email and SMS and paid media, particularly Meta, TikTok, and Amazon and Google. Looking at Amazon platforms, looking at all the channels. And they had some dashboards set up through Looker Studio. And so I'm trying to make sense of what's working, what's not. I'm looking at overall MER. I'm looking at contribution margin per channel. And I stumbled upon what I know all of you have dealt with, which is this direct traffic, phenomena, which is, you have your paid traffic, you have all your UTM set up, but then there's these large spikes in direct traffic. And typically in the industry, what we look at is we're like, okay, well, we ran a campaign, or this media company, released an article on us or something like that. And that's a huge spike in direct traffic. But typically when you do those, there's UTM set up. And so you can kind of see that. And so it's always just viewed as like, oh, these people have like, privacy settings set up and they're not being tracked. But during that time, I was talking with a friend of mine that is really deep in brand analytics. And he goes, John, these spikes in direct traffic and these other spikes that you're seeing on the platform, video views and huge spikes, and you're not sure where they're coming from because it doesn't align with like boosting with media or something like that. That's dark social. And I was like, oh, you mean like just people sharing it over on like SMS or somewhere? And he goes, yeah. He's like, dark social is way bigger than you or I or most other brand marketers even realize. And so I did some digging, and there was actually a study done in 2016 by, let's see, I want to get this right here. It was done by Radium One in 2016, found that 84% of all online sharing, social sharing, occurs via these private channels. That was in 2016. That was 9 years ago. And some more recent studies are confirming that it's between 80 and 95%. That's all sharing. So if you see a little share button and you see some share analytics on your social channels, that's just a tiny fraction of the sharing that is actually happening with your brand if you have good content. And so dark social has been a thorn in most brands' side because you can't track it. You can't track somebody texting their friend. You can't track somebody sharing something on WhatsApp. You can't track somebody who's posting in a DM to another person and sharing a reel or something like that. You can't track that stuff. So what is a brand to do with this massive opportunity? Well, first I'll give you a few ways you can sort of track what is happening, even though you can't directly track the attribution, sort of track. So first off is monitor that direct traffic on your website. If you see spikes happening that don't exactly correlate with an ad campaign, a paid campaign, an influencer campaign, or a PR hit, then you can assume that something caught fire, a piece of your content, an article, or something caught fire and is being shared on dark social. So basically, if you can't track where it is, what's happening, but you can see that direct traffic is having a big peak, a big spike, then you can assume something is being shared. And now you or your analytics team can go and find what also had a large spike. Was it a video? Was it a YouTube video? Did something go viral? Did an article happen, right? And so, by the way, if an article was released based on your brand, but you're not seeing any direct attribution, you missed out on placing a UTM or some trackable link in that article. So in the future, make sure you're trying to use UTMs or trackable links as best you can so that you don't have this, lack of visibility. Because even if they grab that link and then go share it with a friend, you'll see some traffic happening that could potentially be attributable. But that's one way, is to just monitor those spikes in direct traffic. And if you can't track, if you can't see any attribution to it, then you can assume that there's something some sharing going on dark social, and you can try to see spikes that are happening on a piece of content. Because if you can align those two things, a spike in views and a spike in direct traffic, you can assume that that video is being shared or that piece of content is being shared on dark social. Okay, another thing is post-purchase surveys. Post-purchase surveys are valuable for a variety of different reasons, as you know, but one of them is to figure out where people found out about you, and not in the way you know and probably use. Not like, oh, saw you on an Instagram ad or a friend. That's what most brands do. What we like to do is go a level deeper and say, if they click a friend, it's like a friend, and then a little pop-up happens underneath it, or a sub list that says DM, SMS, WhatsApp message. So they check where the friend actually shared it. Now, people's memory aren't always the best. It's not going to be perfectly accurate, but at the end of a survey, you take 100 people and you say, well, 75% of them are sharing via text or SMS. You can kind of understand that, okay, that's a channel maybe we want to promote. Maybe we want to suggest people that text it to their friends, reminding them, hey, share this with your friend, copy the link, shoot it over via text. You can sort of push them to do this because you know that this is a great sharing channel that you can lean into. Also, make sure that you're monitoring these communities. So like Reddit or Discord, especially if you have creators or influencers that are active in there working on your behalf as a brand ambassador, you can have them send screenshots when they see some chatter and communication happening around your brand and sharing that's happening. So somebody on Reddit might say, hey, has anybody tried this sneaker company, thinking about trying them, right? A creator or a brand manager or a community manager can take a screenshot and say, hey, this was just shared. So you can get an idea of the sharing that's happening over there. And then the one that you probably all know is branded search term monitoring on all the platforms you can, like Amazon or Google. Because if branded search is going up, and again, you can't directly relate that to a campaign or something that happened, you can maybe assume that there's some sharing going on in dark social, and that's resulting in people saying, who is this sneaker company, and going and searching for the brand. So those are some ways that you can measure the general activity that's happening on dark social, or the level of activity that may be happening on dark social. From a more proactive approach, I touched a little bit on it, but you want to lean in to promoting this sharing. So the analytics marketers out there are saying like, no, don't do this. I can't track this. But the brand managers or the owners out there that are watching this, you want to lean into this. You want people to share on dark social. It is word of mouth. It is the current modern way of practicing word of mouth. We're not sitting at a diner every morning like we used to, sharing coffee with people in our neighborhood. Instead, we're sharing texts. We're sharing in Facebook groups, neighborhood Facebook groups. We're sharing in Slack communities. And you want to promote that. You don't want to stop that or try to deter that. So you want to lean in. If your audience is primarily B2B, say, hey, share this in your favorite Slack group. If your audience is primarily 21-year-old Gen Z college graduates, you may want to promote them sharing it in a WhatsApp group or a text group or a Discord or a more modern, community channel. Promote them sharing it, and then monitor their spikes in direct traffic, monitor the spikes in, I can't believe I'm going to say this, but vanity metrics, views on your videos, followers on your social account, engagements over there, okay? And see if promoting sharing on dark social channels is also seeing a rise in these vanity metrics. You can kind of start to, too. So point here is pay attention to dark social. You can't track it perfectly, but you can certainly lean in and promote it, and it will drive large amounts of brand awareness, brand engagement, and sales. It will.